Hello everyone, Andrew Chubb here from Awalé Resources, TSX-V listed company with the ticker ARIC, and I'm here today to talk to you about the Empire discovery. It's the first discovery that we made on the Odienné project, and it's nearly 4 years since we drilled there, and so it's really exciting to be back there drilling. And so let's get on with talking about Empire. The usual forward-looking statements. We will be talking about some exploration potential around the Empire discovery. First up, as always, where we are. We're in the northwest of Côte d'Ivoire. We've got just under 2,500 square k's of exploration tenure in 7 permits, and there are 2 permits for 800 square kilometres joint ventured, or with Newmont earning in and spending the money whilst Awalé is operating on these 2 properties. And Empire is down here. As I mentioned, it's the first discovery we made on the project. High-grade visible gold, and a gold-only target rather than a gold-copper target like Scepter or BBM. Just a background on all these discoveries that we have made are within a 20 to 30 kilometre radius. So from a central point in the property there, we're all within a 20 to 30 kilometre radius. So we view this as a potential camp with a central processing facility, and that's the sort of exploration model that we're running with, along with the fact that we really are on a very big crustal scale structure that goes out through Guinea and into Western Mali, a fertile structure, that one, the Bankan cluster and then up in Western Mali, Lulo, Kuntoko, Fekola, all those are associated with a similar system. So Empire itself, zooming in down in the south of the permit there, we're only 2.5 kilometres south of Charger. This is Charger up here, where we've reported some of the highest gold grades in West Africa in the last 12 months and perhaps even the last 10 years. 56 metres at 27 up there at Charger is the best hole we drilled. But we're talking about Empire today down here. As I mentioned, we discovered this back in 2019, 2020, and did drill quite a few holes in it, Empire, and then we also started to look along approximately 5 kilometres of strike, and we did get interesting results in here before we put the Empire project on the shelf as Awalé, and we put it on the shelf just before Newmont came in and started to earn in on the projects, and we just made the Charger discovery back then as well. So, but first of all, we'll zoom in on what we call Empire Main, or the main Empire area, and we got many high grade results. The best of those was 15 meters at 13 grams in OEDD 24, but we got a series of quite a few 100 gram meter intercepts, 50 to 100 gram meter intercepts within the Empire target, and we delineated quite a zone in there. And then we stepped out and did some exploration holes, which I'll talk about a little bit more as we move further on. But further up, so this Empire corridor is actually up to 20 kilometres long, and as I mentioned, we've really only touched about 5 kilometres, and that 5 kilometres still has a lot of exploration work that could be done within it. So we think there's a lot of open potential within the small amount, or the initial work that we started on that property. So initially, so this is just a zoom in on that Empire target. It is hosted within a diorite intrusion that ranges from a porphyritic diorite into sort of an equigranular diorite. These red holes are the 6 holes that we drilled. We were basically confirming the geometry. We've always postulated a steep plunge to the mineralization, and then we stepped back and drilled this deeper hole 127, which was really nice for us. We got 15 meters at 5 grams, 5.2 grams in that hole, and that really showed that the system was open at depth. And so the next slide we're going to look at we have the long section LL and this cross section AA. We got multiple other nice results within there as well, but just moving on to the next section. So something I haven't said, the mineralization does come to surface. There was artisanal mining activity in the saprolite or in the clay material. They came in just after we found Empire. So when we did the soil sampling, there was absolutely no artisanal mining activity on the Empire area. And then in between us coming in and drilling our first holes, we had a bit of a gold rush, and for a short time there was about 2,000 miners on site. But you can see here, so this is the cross section, which is really showing up this deeper drill, deeper hole, OED 2027, which is deeper than most of the other drilling that we've done, and these series of upper holes. So the upper holes, were to confirm the continuity of mineralization in the upper parts of the deposit. You can see that we also have a gap here where we need to do a lot more shallow drilling at Empire. So all the intercepts that we've had at Empire are fresh rock intercepts. What we've done is confirm the geometry and then come back and drill one deeper hole down here, which is OED 127, which is roughly 130 odd meters below, 130 meters below surface, and we've really popped it right into the plunge there. Back in the very first phase of drilling, when we were getting some nice results, this is drill hole number 15. So the 15th hole of the program at Empire, we took a big step back. We saw the system and knew the system was open at depth, but the grades were that we got some, plus 5 gram, around 5 gram intercepts, but the intervals were quite short. And we can see here with the other thing about this hole, because we didn't really have a handle on the geometry, it's drilled towards the northeast and probably a suboptimal drill direction. So 127 is drilled straight to the north, picked up that 15 meters at 5 grams of mineralization, and really show that the system is absolutely open at depth, with potential underground kind of grades there. And so the other thing is we've potentially confirmed other plunges within what we've been drilling, and so it is actually open at depth toward the northwest here as well. And we also believe that it's now, with our reinterpretations and really understanding this, back here in this early stage discovery, we really didn't understand the potential scale of the Odienné district. So now we've drilled things like BBM, we've picked up huge soil anomalies like Lando. We've got other very high grade mineralization and things like Charger. We didn't really understand how big Scepter, we've got a 5 kilometer long soil anomaly at Scepter. So we didn't understand any of these things when we actually put Empire on the shelf. And that's why we put it on the shelf. We were really excited about what we got here, but, didn't fully comprehend the potential scale that we got at Empire. So for us, the work that we've done really opens up that a long strike potential at Empire, as well as the down plunge potential that perhaps we didn't really formally recognize at the time. So that's really an exciting thing about Empire and where we can potentially go with that. So moving on to that sort of bigger picture, we actually did, when we stopped. So this is that Empire main area where we drilled, and the 120, this is an old image, so I haven't got all the things on there, but that whole 127 would be collared sort of through here in the middle, showing that steep plunge to the system. But, we'd postulated an offset, so a northwest offset and a southeast offset to the mineralization, and these are probably actually separate small diorite intrusions coming up. And so we drilled out here some RC and some diamond holes, and we actually got some nice sniffs of mineralization. But for us as Awalé, with limited budgets, it was deeper, and where we got the mineralization, and we just we just didn't have budgets to be drilling multiple deep holes to be properly testing the mineralization that we picked up down here. And we called this Empire Gap because it was a gap in our drilling between Empire and the extension targets that were the potential satellite kind of targets that we drilled further to the southeast. And we got anomalism in those as well. So we've got sniffs of mineralization out there too. So, but we got some really, some pretty decent numbers. 9 meters at just under 2 grams, with 3 meters at 4 within that, and RC119, and that's in a cross section on the next page. And OEDD 39 was a deeper hole that saw the system and still got 2 meters at 2 grams. So we really were quite happy with what we were getting, but we just didn't have the budgets to be following that up at this stage. And when Newmont came in, we were starting to cotton on to these other targets that we viewed as at the time, ranked them higher as potential bigger, larger tonnage kind of targets than what we were seeing at Empire at the time. Our opinion has sort of changed, as I mentioned, now that we understand the scale of the Odienné system and the big plumbing system that we're actually on. So here we are looking at a cross section that actually goes from looking west, and it goes, this is Empire Main, and on the right hand side, so this is Empire Main here, showing some nice mineralization. We mentioned this earlier, 68 meters at 2.4 grams per ton. So this is the, and then back here is further south and the start of Empire Gap. And so we've got very similar mineralization at Gap, and we started to pick up, and for us it was, the initial mineralization was a lot deeper than the shallower drilling that we did, but we've got very much the same geology, and the system is absolutely open down to the south there, or the southeast. So for now, I've just jumped back to that original slide that we had in there, and I have, just to talk about what we call the Empire Corridor. And what we're looking at here is, the 5 kilometers of, so from here to here is about 5 kilometers. And we've done auger geochemistry. We did auger geochemistry over all that. And, we've just been talking about here at Empire Gap and the potential that we've got here. But we also drilled some scout RC fences across these other targets. And we got sniffs of mineralization, and actually saw, we actually ended up drilling a diamond hole in this anomaly here. And we saw, Empire style diorite that had mineralization, sulfides, some within it, and I think we got the best result there was a meter at just under a gram. Again, it was a little bit deep, or deeper, not that deep, but within the top 50 to 100 meters. But like at Empire, the intrusion, it pretty much very much comes to surface, or it's very close to surface. Here it's a little bit deeper, a little bit like Gap. So we know that the mineralization continues along this corridor, and as I mentioned, the work that we've done in the last sort of between 2022 and now has really shown us the scale of the Odienné system, and this is why we need to come back to Empire. It's sitting on a major structure. And that structural corridor on the permits that the permit goes, over, up, 15 to 20 kilometers long, and we really need to be testing along that corridor. So, and also conducting more drilling within the areas that we've started some initial exploration. So it absolutely warrants more work, and I think, in the future we'll start to see more drilling or exploration or discovery drilling at Empire within that 5 kilometer corridor, and we'll start to extend the geochemistry all the way along that corridor as well. So, pretty exciting stuff for us. Sorry that the presentation's gone out to 15 minutes today, but I thought it was important to try and put some color around Empire and why we are bringing Empire back into play, and why we're still so excited about Empire. So thanks very much, everyone, and I hope to speak to you all again soon.